My wife won a $9 million jackpot, filed for divorce, and kicked me out. But she forgot about the prenup her parents forced me to sign before marriage. My life turned into a roller coaster right after my wife hit a massive $9 million jackpot. And instead of celebrating together, she decided to throw me to the curb. But there was one tiny little detail she forgot. Something her own parents made sure was in place before we got married. And let me tell you, karma came back around hard. I, 34M, met my wife, Sarah, 32F, about 8 years ago. We had a great relationship in the beginning, but over time, things changed. You know how it goes. Small things turn into bigger things, and before you know it, you realize that the person you married isn't quite the same anymore. Sarah came from a wealthy family. Her parents never really liked me because I wasn't from the same world as them. I wasn't broke or anything, but I definitely wasn't country club rich. Before we got married, her parents insisted on a prenuptial agreement. At the time, I didn't care. I wasn't marrying her for money. It didn't matter to me, so I signed it without a second thought. Now, this is the important part. The prenup was set up to protect her family's wealth. If we divorced, I wouldn't get a dime of her family's money. However, what Sarah and her parents never realized was that this prenup was a two-way street. It protected her wealth, but also protected mine. If she ever came into money after we got married, it was considered marital property and would be split 50-50ths. Fast forward to about a year ago. Our marriage was already rocky, but we were still together. Sarah had developed an entitled, materialistic mindset over the years. She spent money recklessly, constantly talked about wanting a rich lifestyle, and started treating me like a second-class citizen in our own home. Then, out of nowhere, Sarah bought a random lottery ticket while running errands. And guess what? She freaking won. A cool $9 million jackpot. At first, I was thrilled for her, even for us. This was life-changing money. I figured we'd celebrate, plan how to be smart with the winnings, and move forward together. Boy, was I wrong. Sarah immediately changed. The moment that money hit her account, she became someone I didn't recognize. She started acting single, going out every night, spending insane amounts of money on designer clothes, and worst of all, she was suddenly too good for me. Within a week of getting the money, she sat me down and said she wanted a divorce. Just like that. No discussion, no hesitation. She was done with me. Oh, and it didn't stop there. She demanded that I move out of our house immediately because she wanted a fresh start. Keep in mind, we had bought the house together, but because it was under her name, for tax reasons her parents had insisted on, she thought she could just toss me out like trash. I won't lie, at first, I was devastated. 8 years of marriage, thrown away like I was nothing. I had sacrificed a lot for her, supported her through everything, and now, the moment she had money, she wanted to erase me from her life. But then, I remembered something. That prenup. Sarah was so caught up in her newfound riches that she completely forgot about the prenup her own parents forced on me before we got married. She assumed that since we had one, I wouldn't get a dime from her. What she forgot was that the prenup only protected the money she had before the marriage. The lottery winnings? Those were fair game. The best part? She was so confident in screwing me over that she hired an aggressive divorce attorney and tried to push everything through as quickly as possible. She even sent me a formal eviction notice to leave our house in 30 days. Fine. If that's how she wanted to play, I'd play along. I lawyered up with one of the best divorce attorneys in town. The moment my lawyer read the prenup, he laughed. Not only was I entitled to half of her lottery winnings, but I could also fight for alimony since she was the primary earner now. I let Sarah dig her own grave. She kept spending money like crazy, buying a new car, expensive vacations, designer handbags, completely unaware that legally, half of it was mine. When we finally went to court, Sarah came in with this smug attitude, like she had already won. She thought I'd walk away with nothing. Then, my lawyer dropped the bombshell. The judge took one look at the prenup and confirmed it. I was entitled to half of everything she won during our marriage, including that $9 million jackpot. Sarah's face went pale. She lost it, screaming about how it was her money and that she won it, so it should all be hers. But the law didn't care about her tantrums. She was forced to cut me a check for $4.5 million. Oh, And remember the house she tried to kick me out of? Well, because she bought it with marital funds, which were now joint property thanks to the lottery win. I had a claim to it too. In the end, she had to sell the house and split the money with me. The cherry on top? Her reckless spending had burned through a good chunk of her money, and since she didn't have much left, she had to downsize big time. Where she is now versus where I am. Sarah went from living the high life to struggling. Her parents were furious at her for not realizing the prenup worked both ways. She burned through most of what she had left and had to move back in with them. Meanwhile, I took my half of the money, moved to a new city, and started over. I invested wisely, bought a nice, but not over-the-top house, and have been enjoying life on my own terms. The best part? I met someone new. Someone who actually cares about me, not my bank account. So yeah, Sarah thought she won when she hit that jackpot. But in the end, she lost everything. And all because she forgot about the very thing her parents made me sign. Karma's a funny thing, huh?